Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and I'm a psychologist specialized in emotional and binge eating. I have suffered from both of those for over 15 years, and I have recovered in the last 12 with the understanding that I was undereating for a very, very long time. And I want to discuss in today's videos some of the subtle signs, both physical, psychological, behavioral, that may point out that you are undereating and that this is the reason why you inevitably binge. So I'm just going to start with some of the obvious physical signs. First of all, your hair might fall out. Mine did. Loss of period when you are chronically undereating, brittle nails, pale flaky skin, always being cold, poor digestion, poor concentration, poor memory, poor ability to focus or like to sit still on a task because your mind is kind of telling you, as well as your stomach, that you're hungry, but you're pushing it away, so it's very difficult to focus on anything. I had pretty much every single physical symptom. I had symptoms also such as nervousness, dizziness, fatigue, irritability, just not wanting to be around people because I always felt triggered that we will talk about the food, the body, or that they will invite me somewhere where there was food, and it was just an all isolation from my side. The way I was eating was also very specific, and these are some subtle signs that you're definitely undereating. First of all, if you're only eating certain foods as your safe foods that are very low in calories, it might be an issue because loading on ton of salad or rice cakes or cucumber or drinking lots of water and tea and coffee and energy, drinks gives you a fulfillment for a very short period of time because you put something in your body, but it's just not enough. I ate a lot of those safe foods to kind of trick myself that I was eating, but I was always feeling that it wasn't just something that I enjoyed, but it was more like to kill the hunger in the moment. And that's what those foods do to you. When you are starving for a longer period of time, you inevitably have massive hunger pains and you will experience extreme hunger. But if you have your safe foods, you know that this is the only thing I can eat, so you don't risk in that moment of binging because the safe foods are there, the safe drinks, the gum, everything you're using to eat as little as possible. Besides my safe foods, I also didn't have any variety, obviously. I cut every single food group at a given time, mostly fats and carbs, anything. Baked products, pastry, which I loved, sweets, alcohol, grains. And whenever I was on a different diet, I was just picking up quite a bit of those food rules, and I hid my disorder behind the food rules, saying like, oh, but paleos, they say this, or vegans, they say that, or low carb says this, so I will do it to be in accordance with the food rules. But actually, I just wanted to pick up as many food rules so that I would have to eat as little as possible. So it wasn't really a genuine following of the diet. It was just like, how can I make it so that I eat as little as possible? Throw in a lot of exercise, throw in intermittent fasting, and I was on the verge of a break point because I was eating very little in a very short window, exercising before, and it was just inevitable that I will binge at some point. Besides the physical symptoms and besides the food being so blunt and repetitive and boring with no taste, with no satisfaction, I never ate to satisfy my hunger. It was just like to satisfy that feeling that I should eat because I loved feeling hungry, because then it meant that I'm losing weight. And it's something that kept me going. Whenever hunger would come, I would say, yeah, but like this is the meaning behind weight loss. It means you're doing good. The problem with all of this type of eating is that it was not sustainable. Now, I never understood that I was not eating enough. I didn't know anything about nutrition, nothing about macros, nothing about BMRs, nothing about activity levels. I was clueless of how little calories I was eating, and I was eating roughly 700, 800, maybe 1,000 on certain days. But then I would binge on 2,500, 3,000 in a given day, compensate again with dieting. So this type of behavior, this type of restrictions led always to binging. Binging exactly on those foods that were definitely not on my approved food list, and obviously feeling ashamed of my choices and disgusted and guilty for what I have done and that I have ruined my progress. Besides physical symptoms that I mentioned, besides how I was eating, there was also some behavioral moments that I want to point out as signs that food is too much on your mind, so probably you're not eating enough. I was thinking about food all the time. All the time. Although I was not eating, I was thinking about food all the time. I was dreaming about food. I was dreaming about cooking. I was dreaming about making recipes, like pitching from some different books, cooking for my family. I gave an impression of a person that enjoys being around food. But that was just it. I was just enjoying being around food. I was never eating what I was making for other people. I was ordering always the low-calorie meals or avoiding to eat by saying that I already ate before, or I was just trying to minimize in the social settings food coming into my mouth as much as I could by drinking more or having some snack, some cracker here and there that would make me, satisfied in the moment. If you're experiencing any of those symptoms, behavioral, physical, or this is the behavior around food that you have, you might be severely undereating. And the risk of severely undereating, besides health risks, psychological risks, is that you will inevitably binge. And because you don't make the connection that binging is a consequence of restricting, you will think you did something wrong. And then you will start dieting again. You did nothing wrong. Just look at your diet and how little you have been eating, acknowledge that there is a problem there, try to eat a little bit more, and you will see that any signs of binging will subside.